Hi Steph and Narelle. Welcome everybody. I hope you have all had a wonderful weekend and an enjoyable Mother's Day, however that looked for you. Hi Heartspace. Hi Roaming Atelier. Hey Bree. Nazna, welcome. Yes, it might have been a strange Mother's Day for you if you didn't get a chance to see your mum or you couldn't travel. So I hope that you had a good weekend. Hi Tay, hey Bree, hey Yanuj, and Kate, hi. I am very grateful to the two Light Collective teachers who taught over the weekend. Sugar Plum Crumb, what a cute handle name. I'm just Sian Pascale, you know? I love the way people get very creative. Hey Lou, hey Chris. I'm really grateful for the two teachers, the two Light Collective teachers who did the practice on the weekend. Hey Belle. On Saturday, I slept until 11. I think that I woke up a little before that, but I was pretty proud of that effort. That was a good more than 11 hours sleep. Hey Chris. So I'm very grateful, hey Bree, for all of the teachers who covered for me. And Nat, for those of you who stuck through, I think there were some internet connection issues, but some of you stayed with it, so I hope it was a beautiful practice. I didn't get to do that one. So today I've had a few messages from people that I wanted to check in on and also share, because it's nice to hear other people's stories, as I always say. I think that's a big part of what this is. Nat is beautiful, she sure is. They were both great, that's fantastic. So good. Yeah. So from Beck, she said she wanted to reach out and say how much she's loving the 8:30 wisdom meditation, even though she's usually multitasking as she's listening to me, getting her 4 kids ready for homeschooling. Even within the chaos, she's deeply loving the teachings. She's done many courses over the years, her yoga teacher training, her Vedic meditation teacher training, but she's really drawn to the TLC, authenticity, relatability, and realness. No ego, just love and passion for what you do. I'd love to do some of the workshops. That's great. She's still working on fear-based thoughts, a perpetual cycle, and the practice of letting them go. But she's very grateful for this amazing contribution during this unique time. Thanks, Beck. Thanks for sharing that. Hi, Francesca. Hi, Mish. Thanks so much for sharing that. It's wonderful to hear that. And, you know, even buongiorno, Simone, TLC rocks. This is a mudra and it is also a rock. Do this one. It's legit. Apana mudra. I missed the retreat. It was so beautiful looking over the vineyards. Felt like you were on holidays. Good one, Bree. Francesca is online now. She owns the retreat. Good to just put that in there. Fran, people want to see me in Tassimasi, just putting it out there. I'm just kidding. Hi, Vanessa. Hey, Amy. Thanks for joining. I had here something from Mel, who is a student of mine who has been around forever. You would love to go there, Lou, I know. It's so beautiful. Mel said that said, I loved your teaching this morning. I've been looking forward to the full moon practice all week, but last night my housemate decided to blast thumping music during the class from the bathroom. I got up twice to tell her to turn it off. Then my laptop turned off, then the internet cut out. I ended up just lying on the floor staring at the ceiling crying. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at the pain. I'm laughing at just this shared, I've been there. I know the feeling when you've just had enough with all of it and you just, power to you for just lying on the floor and crying. Before I started doing your morning meditations, I was agitated often, and it even developed into rage and panic attacks, as my housemate had done something inconsiderate a month ago. But last night I was able to sit with my emotions, identify I was disappointed, exhausted, and overwhelmed. I spoke to my housemate after and expressed that it was important for me to have that 60 minutes when a live stream was on. Hearing that you had your own challenges yesterday was really helpful for me and also made me giggle. I was glad to hear that I can redo the practice tonight. I'll get everything ready and try again. That's great, because that's all we can do. Sometimes things will be outside of our control. In fact, a lot of times they'll be outside of our control. So to be able to express yourself personally, to express the overwhelm, to understand and drop into what it is you're feeling is also really powerful. And to just do it again on another night. It sounds like you're smashing it, Mel. This is what all the work is for, because we can't control our surroundings all the time. We can't make our lives perfect from the outside. We can't control the external world. What we can control is our response, our reaction. Our inner world is literally all we can do. So thanks so much, Mel, for sharing that with me, and it made me laugh. And, it's a shared experience. You're not alone. The amount of times I have wanted to lie on the ground and cry because of what is going on with the internet is innumerable. Now, there's a big question that I'll answer tomorrow that came from Eugenia on trauma. So I want to, before I get into that tomorrow, talk about a question. And I forget who this came from. I didn't write it down, I'm afraid. Question for Sian for morning satsang. I'm trying to implement a daily meditation practice into my day to get into a habit of meditating. I set myself a challenge to meditate daily and was keeping track of how many days in a row I meditated. The day was busy and I missed it yesterday, and now I feel like I failed and I feel guilty for skipping and like I have to start all over again. Is setting a challenge in this way losing sight of meditation and the true reason to meditate in the first place? Do you have any tips on how to build a daily practice? To be honest, it sounds like you have already answered that question yourself. So I can go over it again. There are certain apps that you can use, like, the timer one, Insight Timer, and it will track how many days you've done it. And I think that these are actually, it's good on the one hand, but it is also a very clever marketing tool on the other hand, because they want you to use the app. And when it comes to meditation practice or any yoga practice, be careful that you don't collect yoga practices as you would any other part of your life. So it's not an object to be collected and held on to. You can be worried about, you've got too many clothes or too many objects, too many things that you're hanging on to. The same can go for yoga or meditation practice. So you can hang on to achievements You can set goals when it comes to yoga and meditation, but in fact that is, as you have already answered yourself, it isn't the point. It isn't the point to feel guilty or to feel like you've failed. That is 100% not the point at all of meditation. So be careful when it comes to accumulating postures like you would anything else, or accumulating mantras, accumulating anything. It's wonderful to have all of these as tools, things that we can work with, but in the end they're just tools. We don't want to grasp or hang on to anything tightly. And we certainly don't want to feel guilty about practice or not practice. However, and Ruth, I'll get to your question, is it important to practice meditation at a similar time every day? However, sometimes, and the guilt or the remorse, if you don't let it be too heavy, can be a motivation. It isn't a very elevated motivation to have. However, if you felt it, then there is a part of you that knows that you want to be practicing every single day. You want to be doing your meditation practice every day. Then use it when it's there. But don't rely on guilt or negative emotion to be the motivator, because in the end, it doesn't motivate you. And there are two aspects to creating tapas, which is a kind of inner fire and discipline. And that inner fire and discipline is one that you can cultivate. It's funny because the fire that's needed to get up every day, no matter what is going on, it's really hard to start a fire. We've spoken about this. That first part of starting the fire is always the hardest part. It's as anything moves out of inertia. So when anything starts from inertia and moves into movement, that is the hardest part. I always think about it like the effort that it takes for a steam train to get started. It's like that's the hardest part, starting. But once you're in it, there is a self-perpetuating motivation. And that self-perpetuating motivation doesn't just come from a fire or a heat, but it also comes from a love. So the fire of the navel center, which is the way it's described, or the way it's really taught, or the way I perceive it from doing lots of energetic practice through yoga, the fire of the navel, and then the airiness of the heart, the kind of softness of the heart. The fire can't burn without air, without space as well. And so the heart needs to be involved in this whole practice. And we've spoken about it before, thinking about why it makes you feel good, the positive changes in your life that have been created from doing this daily meditation practice. It also, though, has to be combined with, I'm just going to get up and do it. This kind of fiery heat, that's what I do every day. I do it at 7 a.m. I wake up, I do my practice, or, I do it at 8:30 a.m. with Sian. Whatever it is, there needs to be this combination of the two, and they work back and forth. Doing meditation every day is made easier when you have a set time, because we're creatures of habit. And to have that set time also helps the people around you. It helps you to be more organized. Doing meditation at certain times of the day is said to be particularly potent. Thanks, heart space. You give others from your sacral and find you leave less for yourself. It's important that we feed ourselves first. And that's what the meditation practice does. And, it could be a matter of, for you have to get up and do it at the same time every day. That could be the thing that helps you to do it every day. It could be that you write a list of all of the positive changes that have been created from you doing meditation every day, and you put that somewhere, like in your shower. It could be that you create a beautiful space. Some people are motivated by beautiful spaces. This is like, you can have a look. I used to have plants and deities and cushions, and those who are on Facebook can see it already. Maybe it's about creating a space that's really aesthetically pleasing for you, that's just yours. Everyone will have their own personal motivation, but there is a sense that there are two aspects to tapas, to motivation. One is this kind of just get up and do it. Just no more excuses. Do it, do the work. This kind of power, fire. And the other aspect is a slightly softer connection to love and connection to positivity and lightness and ease with yourself. So really, you have to do it, but once you get on that train, showing up for this practice every morning might be enough to get you to say, okay, I'm going to wake up 15 minutes earlier than what I usually do, and I'm going to have an experiment. I'm just going to try. This is a good one. For me, I find it easier when I use words internally like experiment. I'm just going to see. I don't have to do it for the rest of my life. I'm not stuck. I'm going to try it for a month. I'll get up 15 minutes earlier and I'll do it on my own. And I'll see what happens. And hey, if it doesn't work out well, that's it. You don't have to do it anymore. But it probably will work out well. Everyone will have their own motivating factor. And it's almost like at the start of your journey, things like apps which track you, that seems to be the way to do it. But that is a very beginner's mind way of doing things, putting the pressure on yourself and relying on something external to be the motivating force, or relying on guilt or fear. As you move through your practice, and as you already have, I'm so sorry, I forget who sent that in to me. It sounds like you already know that isn't the way forward, or that isn't the real motivation. It might be good at the start, but so what? You can tell people that you meditated for 300 days in a row, and you can show people your app, It doesn't mean anything. In fact, it's super boring for the people around you. They don't want to hear that. Nobody cares. What is powerful is to embody the practice, is for other people to look at you and be like, hey, you seem different. You're calmer. Yes, Chris, thanks for laughing at my jokes. You're more connected. You have an inner radiance. You're not reacting to things in the way you perhaps used to react. You have clearer communication skills. You're more embodied. Those are the things that make the difference, not ticking off something on the list. But it doesn't mean don't do it every day. It is really important. And there's no need to feel guilt if you don't. You'll just notice the feeling. You'll notice the feeling of, I feel more reactive today, or I feel off today. Why do I feel off? Because the more you meditate, the greater your sensitivity becomes to these things. And noticing the change will be enough of a motivation for you to sort of say, okay, the next day I'm going to do it. There's no need to force yourself on this path. And I think we've spoken about this. Thanks, Simone. There's, if for some reason you're resisting so much and you have a day off, like there's no yogi god that is going to punish you. It isn't a kind of Catholic guilt thing that happens. It's just you who punishes yourself. Or it's just you that, like when you didn't consecrate the other day, so you're like, I feel really weird today, what's going on? Forgot to consecrate. So it's a really great question, and it's one that we can continue to talk about as we do these. And there are many answers, and there are many methods from Kriya to Pranayama to Yoga Asana, which help motivate us to get into stillness, because it can be really difficult to just sit down and meditate. I'm a big believer in having supportive practices, including satsang, because when we speak in an elevated space together, then doing elevated sattvic practices such as meditation, the motivation for that becomes a lot easier. When you listen to somebody talk about meditation, you think, I'm going to do that every day. Someone's talking about relationships. You're not in a relationship and they're talking about conscious relationships, and you're like, I'm so going to be so conscious in my next relationship. So the satsang motivates, it helps, it supports all of this work. Yeah, I might keep this up when things go back to normal. Satsang is the beautiful warm-up to meditation. Yes, Shay, thanks. I'm glad you feel that. I'm going to do another satsang in a month, because maybe less than that, in about 3 weeks. Next week we've got a women's circle, which I'm going to do on Zoom. This is a new moon practice. And then the fortnight after that, I'll do another longer satsang. And I would love for those of you who have lots of questions to start writing them down, and I'll be able to answer them on the satsang, because I'd love to just have it as a question and answer, maybe a bit of a chat on something, and then more question and answer time. So let's begin our practice now. We've done our satsang warm-ups, our mind stretches, our consciousness stretching, and you can stretch your body. I don't know whether you can hear my back cracking every time I do that. Full on. I don't know when that started, sometime in my 30s. When you're ready, lengthen through the spine in any seat that you're in. Rest the palms either facing down, tip of the thumb and forefinger to touch, or facing up with that same mudra. Take a deep breath in the nose. Exhale out of the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Longest, deepest breath of your day. One round of Om. Inhale the gaze to the third eye. Om. And bow the head, allowing the everyday mind to drop away. All that is mundane, all that limits you and holds you back in your life, let it go. And for these 10 minutes, allow yourself to be expanded, limitless, eternal, connected to all that is in existence. From this elevated state, keeping the hands where they are, we silently consecrate, turning the practice into an offering, offering it all up to a greater power, perhaps our highest self, that elevated state of self. And wait to feel a response from above. Now please bring your attention into this week's mantra, Aham Brahmasmi, a mantra that connects us to the creative force of the universe. I am that creative force. Aham Brahmasmi. Repeating either with me or after me. Aham Brahmasmi. S-M-I. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Let it become softer. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Until it becomes a whisper. And eventually it becomes a silently repeated mantra. And when thoughts arise and they seduce you and take you out of the mantra, gently bring the awareness back to Aham Brahmasmi. There's no judgment. There's a noticing. The witness awareness arises. And we come back into the mantra. Aham Brahmasmi. For the final few moments, please focus your awareness completely on the mantra Aham Brahmasmi. And keeping that strength of awareness, now allow the mantra to drift out of the consciousness, leaving only a purity of awareness. Witness the experience, whatever it is. And then gently bring the hands to prayer. Rub them. Press them. And rest them at the heart. We seal our practice with one round of Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Cleansing breath to begin. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Bring the thumbs to the third eye, gently bowing forward, honoring all that it took to be here, not just today, but the many lifetimes of work that have allowed you to show up for this practice. To that we bow and say Namaste. Namaste to you all. So thank you for joining me this Monday to another session. I love seeing you guys. And look, I'm happy to carry on if people show up for it. But if, life gets back to its normal busyness and people don't want it or they're doing their own practice, then I won't do it. But if people want to continue, I'm happy to continue. Thanks, Bree. Thanks, Warren, Nafisa, Nazna, Narelle. Thanks so much, Jack, for showing up, and Bree. Monday is a go. Merci beaucoup, Mishko and Mish and Soph Black and Catherine. Thank you so much. So if you have any questions, anything you want to share, it's always so nice to hear other people's experiences, and send them through to the Light Collective, and Ruby will make sure that I get them all. And thanks for sharing these practices with your friends, because a lot of people have written to me. Thank you for being generous with your time. I love the morning meditations and will continue while you're able to do them. Francesca, you are so welcome. It is my pleasure. King, this has become the new normal. Great. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks for sharing it with friends, because one bit of consistency or certainty in the day. That's great. Because I've had a lot of people write to me and say, oh, my friend Jess recommended me, or somebody sent this through to me, or I have a family friend, or so I appreciate that. Slightly interrupted, that's okay. Welcome to life, Kirsty. You love my plant collection, Kiri. So do I. I spent a big chunk of yesterday doing my plants. I feel so wholesome when I garden. I had a very wholesome day yesterday. There was a lot of gardening. My indoor plants are so happy right now, and I think it's because, as I said, I feed them weekly with compost juice. So even if you are in an apartment, you can have a compost. I have 3. So it's all part of it. Yes, B brought Chris to TLC. Exactly, T. So, it's so nice that you're sharing it, because it makes me feel like these teachings are getting out there to more people, which is what it's all about. A lovely start to the day and motivation. For your teachings, you're feeling less alone. That's so good. Especially as a teacher, to feel supported, to feel like you're in a community still, and to have somebody to kind of, to support you as a teacher. I think that's huge. Yes, remember that, Kiri. Yes, so just a bit of compost juice. I mix it in with a whole lot of water, and I only water my plants weekly, and I make sure they're in a spot that makes them happy. That's the other thing. You sometimes have to move your plants around, and then they find their little mini ecosystem within your house, and then they're happy. My sister gave me a bunch of plants, and I have to say, Lara, they're a lot happier at my house where there are no kids to torture them. Thank you all so much for joining. We'll be back with another Aham Brahmasmi session tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Have a beautiful day. Sorry I ran over time. There was just too many good questions and comments. Lots of love to you wherever you are in the world.